So we're going to take a look at basically day one of limits. And when we're dealing with evaluating limits, it's a whole new thing for you guys. So we'll take multiple looks at how we can evaluate them. And first we're going to start just by looking at using a table. And really that table is going to mainly come from our calculator. So just to get you guys familiar with this notation, the lim stands for limit. So what we're doing is we're finding the limit of the function f of x, or whatever the function is, as the x value approaches some number. In this case, they're just using c, and the limit is this answer here, L. So the way that this really works is, here's a function of x squared plus 1, and we want to find the limit as x approaches 1. Now, this is an example of a function where we actually could find the answer, but the whole idea of the limit is what value are we getting close to, right? What value are we approaching? Not what value is it, but what value are we approaching? And this will help us in our answers when there is no answer at a certain value, but if we notice that it approaches a certain number, those limits will help us perform some calculations a little bit later on. So the way we start this is you go to your y equals screen, you'll put the function into the calculator. So in this case, we have x squared plus 1. And then after that, you guys are going to go to your table settings. So the way you do that is press the second button and then window. And we are going to turn this table into ask mode. So you're going to put the independent variable as ask. We're going to ask, we're basically going to type in the values that we're interested in. Now, what our goal is going to be is we're going to take the x values and we're just going to get closer and closer to 1. So we're going to start with just a number like 0.9. Then we're going to go 0.999, right a little bit closer, and 0.9999, even closer to that 1. And we're going to look at, from the left-hand side of the number 1, what are we getting? What is the y value getting closer and closer to? So you put in 0.9. Then we keep going. We put 0.999, so we're getting closer and closer to the number 1. So we started with 1.81, then 1.98. We put 9999, and we get the value 1.998. So what's happening is the y value is getting closer and closer to 2. Now, if we type 1 in, we actually will get 2 in this case. So if we go over here, we type in the 1, we will get the number 2 because there actually is a value for this function at that point. But what we're noticing is the function is approaching 2 as x is approaching 1. Okay, then we're going to take a look on the right-hand side here. So as we're approaching the value of x being equal to 1 from the right-hand side. So we're going to start with right, furthest number away at 1.1, 1.1, 1.01, and 1.001. So we're getting closer and closer to the number 1 until we finally get to the 1. Now what's happening is, you notice it starts at 2.2, then it gets smaller, 2.02, and 2.002. Right, we're getting closer and closer to 2 as well. So we have, basically what we're able to say is that the limit of f of x as x approaches 1 is the number 2. Now we can also say this because as the limit was approaching from the left-hand side, which is what this negative means down here, the limit was 2. And as we were approaching from the right-hand side of this table, the limit was also 2. So this is just a quick example of how to use the calculator with limits. We'll do a few more in class, but just something for you guys to bounce back to.